Today we are going to talk about the ultimate sister duo. No, not you guys. Lilo and Nani. And I'm going to tell you exactly why Nani is the best sister figure in Disney. Hi guys, I'm Libby and welcome to Punsy's Palace, where I do all things Disney, hence the Punsy, and all things regarding my life and home, hence my palace. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit subscribe down below for more lifestyle and Disney content. Before Lilo and Stitch came out in 2002, most of the sibling relationships in Disney movies were pretty much secondary to the story or unimportant at all. Sure, we had Cinderella and her stepsisters, which was a very over-dramatized version of what stepsisters are really like. I have two stepsisters and they're very nice people. And then we see like one other Disney character who has a sister before Lilo and Stitch, or sisters, and that's Ariel with her 6 sisters, who play absolutely zero part in the story besides telling Triton that Ariel's in love and then being shocked when Ariel isn't at the concert at the beginning. That's it. And then Lilo and Stitch came out, which I think is the best representation of sisterly love and that relationship. I know what I'm talking about. I was raised in a house full of girls. I have 2 older sisters. I know about sisters. And you know what? It's not all sunshine and rainbows with your sister. Okay? It's definitely nothing like what Anna and Elsa do. It's not risking everything to save your sister who has never done anything for you and has shut you out her whole life. Yeah. That doesn't really happen. However, Lilo and Nani's relationship is a lot more realistic and accurate to what sisterhood can actually be like. It's loving, yes, but not always on the surface. Sisters are annoying, older and younger. They can make life hard. They can confuse you. They can be disgusting. They make you so angry you want to cry. But despite all of that, sisters are also fiercely loyal to one another, and they're there for each other. Now, I don't just want to talk about sisterhood. No, I want to talk about the amazing character that is Nani. Not just about how she's barely on any merch and even sometimes Lilo gets shafted even though her name comes first in the title of the movie. I'm going to talk about how absolutely incredible Nani is throughout this movie. So let's begin. So we first meet Nani when she's coming to pick up Lilo from dance class. And there's a few things here that we should note. First of all, she supports Lilo with dancing by letting her go all the time and just supporting that hobby for Lilo because that's really important. And number 2, Nani is forced to act like a mother a lot of the time since Lilo and Nani's parents have died. So she has to stop whatever she's doing to pick up Lilo, and she's the one faced with the consequences if Lilo isn't there. And now here's what makes it absolutely perfect and shows how much of a sister she is instead of a mother. She doesn't get super upset and worry about where her baby is or anything like that because that's super motherly. No, instead she comments, "Oh no. You better be home," when she's racing to get there. More annoyed than anything, but definitely like a true sister. And of course, Nani still loves her sister and would be super upset if she couldn't find her, but it's more inconvenient to her than anything. And she comes home to find Lilo overdramatically lying on the floor, singing to Elvis, and she's nailed the door shut. Not gonna lie, Lilo reminds me a bit of myself. And Nani, of course, berates her sister to try to get inside. She's not actually furious though. Like, she just threatens her, but that's kind of the way sisters kind of get their anger out, because I feel like Nani knows something happened with Lilo, that's why she's acting out like this, and she'll ask her about it later and they'll talk and discuss it later, but right now is not the time because the social worker is coming, and man is this scene perfect, because Nani has to work so hard. She's just a teenager, and she's forced to be a full adult before she's ever ready. Not only does she have to take care of her little sister, but she has to run a household, get groceries, do any other shopping, do the cooking and the cleaning, and have a job to take care of everything and pay for everything, as well as deal with a social worker. And you can totally see it in this scene. She is trying so hard to make things seem fine and like she has everything together, and she's obviously worked with Lilo a lot to make sure that Lilo seems normal and happy, and she doesn't say something that could probably be taken the wrong way because Nani feels like she's the only one who understands Lilo. And yet, that happens anyway. That's a lot of pressure to put on somebody. Not just a teenager, but anybody. And Nani is only 19, and she has to take care of an entire house as well as her sister, who's only 7 years old, and she still needs a lot of help learning things and growing up. And what makes it harder for Nani is that Lilo isn't technically like a perfectly normal child. She has a lot of quirks. She believes a fish controls the weather. This is probably a coping mechanism because her parents died in a car crash when the weather was bad, and so she has this thing made up with the fish to make her cope with, if I can control the weather, then bad things like that won't happen and people won't leave me again. And she takes pictures of weird kind of odd things, and she has a lot of arts and craftsy kinds of things, and she made her own odd looking doll. I mean, I love Scrump, don't get me wrong, but definitely not picturesque perfect. And Lilo doesn't really have any friends, which puts extra pressure on Nani because she doesn't want her sister to be sad and lonely all the time. But she can't always hang out with Lilo because she has to work to keep their lives going. Oh yeah, and she has to deal with the fact that Lilo is 7 and she doesn't have her parents anymore. At the same time that Nani is having to deal with her parents are gone, and the only person she has left is Lilo. She may get into sisterly fights with Lilo, but she does still bring her dinner, and she listens to her talk about her photography fascination. Even if Nani thinks it's weird, she obviously keeps printing the photos because Lilo says it's full again, meaning that Nani keeps refilling it because she's so supportive of her. And she loves Lilo, and she does what she can to still be an annoying big sister at times.
Gravity is increasing on me.
No, it's not!
It is too, Lilo. The same thing happened yesterday.
You rotten sister, your body is crushing me!
But all the while keeping Lilo's best interests at heart.
I need someone to be my friend. Someone who won't run away. Maybe send me an angel.
Oh yeah, and this is all pre-Stitch, meaning there's a ton on her plate already, even before any of this sci-fi craziness, weird stuff starts to happen. So Nani takes Lilo to go get a dog, which is super nice, especially since Nani would also have to help out with taking care of this dog because it's not just going to be all on a 7-year-old. And even though she doesn't like Stitch right out, the fact that Lilo wants him and likes him, she doesn't say no. She just lets her get him anyway. And she also makes sure that the dog lady doesn't make Lilo feel bad about the name that she's picked out because it's not normal.
His name is Stitch.
No, that's not a real name. In Iceland. But here it's a good name.
And even moreover, we get introduced to David and her job. Nani has to work as a waitress at a luau, which I'm not gonna go too far into, but working at a luau in Hawaii as an indigenous person, kind of like a slap in the face. Luau's became like super commercialized for tourism, and Nani absolutely hates working there, and you can tell because she says this as she's fired / quits and walks away.
Well, who wants to work at this stupid, fakey luau anyway?
Oh, and also when she gets fired, she makes sure that Lilo knows that it's not her fault and doesn't feel bad about it.
Did you lose your job because of Stitch and me?
Nah, the manager's a vampire, and he wanted me to join his legion of the undead.
I knew it.
Oh, and also, before we move on to David, Nani also tries to keep up with Lilo and her nutrition to keep her healthy, while keeping up with a 7-year-old's ever-changing palate.
Oh, you didn't even eat your sweet potato. I thought you liked them.
Desserts!
But David. He is an attractive man who works with Nani at the luau. He's athletic, he's super nice, he's good with Lilo, and he obviously likes her because he's asked her out several times. And you can tell because when he asked her out this time, she says,
David, I told you I can't.
meaning this isn't the first time. He's obviously asked many times before, and she obviously likes him with his butt and his fancy hair. She can't even fathom being able to juggle a relationship with a guy she might really like, as well as all the other stuff that she has on her plate, which is just so realistic and mature of her because she is putting taking care of Lilo first above all else. She doesn't date. Not that she doesn't have the option to date, but because she doesn't have the time for it, because what if Lilo needs her? And then we finally see Nani's room. Pretty normal teenager room, I'd say. Yeah. Oh, except there's a bunch of trophies and ribbons and medals. Yeah, Nani was a surfer, like a really good surfer. And you can tell this later in the movie by the way that she's surfing. I mean, she surfs with a kid and a dog on her surfboard. No problem. But why doesn't she continue doing it? Well, I think because her parents died, she had to take care of Lilo. Becoming a professional surfer just wasn't in the cards anymore. It would require a lot of travel and having to leave Lilo alone a lot, or giving Lilo up to a home, which she wasn't gonna do. So instead, she gave it all up for Lilo. And yet, it still wasn't enough. She still is faced with losing Lilo because she wasn't good enough to take care of her. And yes, Stitch did have some interference with that, but things weren't looking good beforehand. The social worker scene comes before Stitch is ever even mentioned. And you may think, okay, But Nani left Lilo at the house alone, and that's when the aliens attacked. Well, to be fair, Nani did not know that aliens were going to attack. Honestly, she's had no interaction or inclination thinking that aliens have existed or anything like that. We, the audience, only know because we've been seeing it the entire time. And the only reason she left Lilo was to go get a job.
I think I found you a job.
You what?
But this wasn't just a job to her. No, to her, getting this job means I don't lose Lilo. I get to keep her here with me. Because the social worker had two stipulations. Stitch has to be a model citizen and Nani has to have a job. And she just found out that Stitch has left, so that kind of gets rid of that problem. David just came to her house saying, hey, I have a job for you. And that would fix everything. And so of course she's like, all right, Lilo, I'll be right back. Everything's gonna be okay. And so she thinks that this is gonna fix everything, and she probably assumes that Lilo's just gonna like listen to Elvis or something. And Nani fights for Lilo every step of the way. Cobra takes her away and she fights him tooth and nail, yelling at him, saying she's the only one who understands her and can care for her.
No, you're not taking her. You don't know what you're doing. She needs me.
And then when Lilo runs away and Nani goes after her, then she has her first interaction with aliens, and it's absolutely terrifying. And she sees that Lilo is gone. But instead of moping around about it and being further terrified by the existence of aliens, oh no, she goes to confront Stitch.
Okay, talk.
She's not messing around here, and she bravely, when faced with even more aliens, she approaches them and asks for Lilo.
Where's Lilo?
We do not know anyone by this
Lilo! She's a little girl this big. She has black hair and brown eyes, and she hangs around with that thing!
And only then, when she has no hope of getting Lilo back, does she break down, thinking that she's lost her. Of course, Lilo isn't actually gone, and they get her back because Stitch has a heart, but still, Nani is so strong and a powerhouse individual through everything that life is throwing at her. She's emotionally strong because she has to be there for Lilo. She's actually strong because she's an A+ surfer. She wrestles with Stitch numerous times, and she actually knocks him back quite a bit with a branch. But above all else, she is an amazing sister figure because she's not perfect. She does the best that she can in her circumstances while trying to keep Lilo happy, but trying to keep them afloat. And it's so realistic even outside of all the alien stuff that's going on because, as I said, she doesn't interact with the aliens until the very end. And even then, when faced with aliens, she stays strong and remains strong to get back Lilo. So I'm just gonna say, Nani deserves all the love in the world. She's one of the best side characters ever written in a story, and her sisterly love is so much deeper with Lilo and so much more altruistic than anything that was written in Frozen. So comment down below what you think about Nani. Do you like her as a character? Did you ever think that she was actually Lilo's mom growing up? So let me know all your comments. Are there any other side characters that you think have an amazingly full fleshed out story that don't get enough love? Let me know down below. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And until next time, guys, farewell.